Hi, this is Owen, and today we're going to talk about community tanks. Community tanks are my favorite kind because I like to have a lot of different fish, a large variety of it. And whenever I go into a pet store, if I find something I like, I research them and find out how they're going to do in a community type setting. So I've been working on getting different ones. This one right here is an angelfish, and they had him under as an assorted angelfish. But I thought he was really pretty, and they can do pretty well in community tanks. He doesn't seem to go after any of the smaller fish or any of the other fish. We have over here, this is a blue dwarf gourami, and he's really interesting, really pretty, and they normally do pretty well with him. Him and the angelfish, they sometimes go after each other a little bit, but they don't do any fin nipping or really much there. They just kind of swim at each other. But they're just really pretty fish that I added in here just because I thought they were really interesting and pretty. And down there you can see I have some bloodfin tetras. They're great schooling fish. They swim together quite often and just looks really cool when they're sitting down in the corner in a little ball. Then I also have, that is a snakeskin or cobra skin guppy. That's the male. And I have a female guppy. I'm not exactly sure what kind she is, but she might be pregnant. I'm not exactly sure, but I put Java moss down here just in case, so if she does, the babies can hide in there so they won't get eaten. I'm gonna get more of that just so that they can have a little bit more protection in here, but there's not really much that will eat them. I mean, the gourami might, but I guess we'll just have to find out for that. And I also really love snails. I have this guy here. He's just giant. And I have a few others. You can see him there in the back. And then this one eating on this cucumber, which they and the different plecos I have in here love the cucumbers. I have this one. That's a bristlenose. I believe that one is a female. And I have another bristlenose that's an albino, but I'm not sure where that one is right now. But you can see I have a yellow mystery snail back there, and I have one other that's down over here. They keep the tanks really clean. They like to clean the glass, and I haven't scrubbed the glass at all because I have the snails and I have a few different plecos. You can see I have a common pleco there. He kind of chills out on the log a lot, but a lot of the time he'll be swimming around. He'll go munch on the glass and on different surfaces. But he really enjoys just swimming around. In the back, I don't know if he's gonna come out or not, but I have a rainbow shark. He's down here. He's a pretty neat little guy. They say they're semi-aggressive, but what I've noticed from him, he's not really aggressive. Doesn't really go after anything. Pretty much leaves everybody alone. He's just a neat little fish. He's really pretty. And you can see this weird little guy. This is a stick catfish, and you can't really see all of them, but they're really neat too. I actually just got him today, and he'll eat algae and stuff. I put algae wafers in there, and he already snacked on those. But they're just a really weird fish to have. It's different, but he's not really out right now. Hopefully by the end of the video he'll come out so you can see his full body. He's really long and skinny. It's a weird type of catfish. They're also called the twig catfish, or Farlowella is the name. There you go. You can see how long he is. He's about 5 inches, but he's really skinny. And down here, you can see I have a Pictus catfish in there. Another semi-aggressive fish, but he gets along with everybody. And he's really cool. A lot of the time, he'll sit in the log. They're mostly nocturnal, so early morning or late at night, once the lights go off, they actually get very active and swim around a lot. They go crazy a lot of the time and just swim around. Like he'll swim around the heater or just bounce around the tank everywhere. Just another really interesting fish. And I have a few other kinds in here. I actually have 2 Raphael catfish. I don't know if you're going to be able to see him. He's up inside there. One of them is. They, a lot of the time, just kind of hang out and hide. Sometimes when they come out, though, they're just really cool to look at. They're just big, beefy things. They have spines all over them. And they stay a decent size. They stay smaller, between the 3 and 4 inch. So that's good for a smaller tank. But I'm planning on moving all these guys to a 55 gallon soon, probably in January. So I'll make a video about that and setting it up and everything. You can see the stick catfish climbing up there. But I like to keep my tanks with a lot of different, like a lot of stuff in there for them to go in. It's in a little bit of a disarray right now, just because I've been adding stuff into it, and eventually it'll be going into the 55. So I haven't really set the tank up to be things with specific areas. So I've just been setting it up so that they can still hide in it and have different areas for that. And they don't really mind if it doesn't look very pretty. It's just how it functions. And over here, I have some banana plants, which are actually really interesting. They have those really long roots that come down, and then they have these, they're kind of like lily pads, and eventually they'll grow up and they'll sprout all the way to the top, which will give them some cover. Some fish really like that, and the blue gourami especially, he'll enjoy going up there and hiding under the lily pad. They like being towards the top if it's sheltered and they feel safer. They're also a little bit weird. Sometimes they'll go up and they'll gulp some air, which is really kind of funny to see. But you can see the pleco's chewing on the snail now, just getting the algae off his shell. He doesn't hurt the snail at all. He's just cleaning him off, but he's a really neat little thing. That's the bristle nose, and they also stay between like 3 and 4 inches, so they don't get very big. The common pleco, you can see his tail down there. They're sold at pet stores a lot, and they're sold as smaller fish, and people don't really pay attention to the size they get. They can get up to a foot or more. So I wouldn't recommend having them in a smaller tank, maybe to grow them out, but then put them in a larger tank. And for him, I'm probably going to end up getting an even bigger tank than the 55, because even a 55 isn't really big enough for them. Once they get to full size, it'd be harder for them to turn around. But they grow pretty fast. They're really interesting fish. Over here you can see I put some Indian leaves in there. They like to snack on those, plus they're really good for keeping things safe, like in this. I actually have some coolie loaches, which are cool little, they look like little eels or little worms, but I ordered them online and they came in really small, so I wanted to give them a lot of coverage, so I got all these little plants down here, and eventually they'll start coming out more. I've seen them a couple times, but they hide a lot until they're bigger, and even then they still hide a lot, unless you get a lot of them. The more you have, the more active they'll be. You can see the common pleco back there. He is getting pretty big. And down there, you can see the albino bristlenose hiding down at the bottom there, which is where he normally goes. You know, he'll move around a lot, but they're just really pretty and cool looking. And I have a Marmo moss ball back there, and the snails and other bottom feeders like to munch on that neat little thing. See if I can get a better view of that. That's the Marmo moss ball. They're really good for filtering your water, keeping it clean. The same with all plants that you put in there. Also, the Java moss is good for that. Here's the stick catfish, just a weird little thing. But I have two types of filtration on here. I have one just a hang on the back filter, but I put an intake sponge on it just to kind of keep all the gunk from getting up in there. And then up top, I took out the cartridges, and now I just use a filter sponge, and there's some lava rock in the bag there. That's really good. You don't have to replace them all the time and spend a bunch of money. And whenever you go to clean them, all you have to do is pull them out. When you're do a little water change, get some water in the bucket, and then rinse it off in the bucket full of your water so it doesn't kill the bacteria in there, because beneficial bacteria is one of the most important things for the tanks that keeps all the gunk down. It keeps the ammonia from getting too high. And then over here I have a sponge filter just to help out with the filtration and a little bit of airflow. That'll definitely keep it good. There'll be a lot more bacteria that can grow on that. which the good bacteria is very good in here. That's something you really want. You can see them again there. And I also have a piece of driftwood back there because the plecos actually really enjoy munching on that, and some plecos actually need that in their diet to survive, and they really enjoy just being able to gnaw on the wood. And I put some, these are seashells, I put those in there just to raise the pH up a little bit. My pH was low, so I added some seashells, and now it's pretty evened out. The reason that it went lower was because I added the Indian leaves, and those lower the pH. So if you're having a pH problem, if it's too high, if you just get those, you can put them in there. I'll show you the packaging that they come in, so if you want to get them, you can do that. And also it just creates really good shelter for them. They really enjoy it. There that is, called catappa leaves, which the common name that people just call them by is the Indian leaf, but those are really great to have. And I got those specifically for the coolie loaches because they like to hide a lot. But this is just my my community tank. You can see they're starting to school up a little bit more in there. I just want to talk about the community tank, and if you're thinking about setting one up, I think it's a great idea, but something you need to do is research every fish you're thinking about putting in there, because you don't want your fish killing other fish, because then you're out some money, and also it's really sad to see when you have a fish you like. You can see here, there's the snail. Here's a side view of everything. All the different stuff in there, a lot of hiding areas for everybody, a lot of places they can go, in the grass they can go into. Here's another view of the rainbow shark, since I couldn't get it before. He's just really pretty. They get up to about 6 inches. Really interesting fish. They're pretty active, swims around. I believe he's a type of catfish. They call it a shark just for, I don't know, a random name, but he's really just catfish. And I also got some, you can see a tiny little snail back there. There's some tiny snails up here. I just got some of those. Those are pond snails, and they're actually considered a nuisance a lot of the time by a lot of people. When you buy plants, they come with them. But I got them specifically to bring in here, and because if they do end up breeding and more of them get here, I don't really mind. I like having snails, and if it gets to the point where I have too many, I do have a blue crayfish. So he'll be able to just eat them if I don't want them anymore. But I did a video on the blue crayfish that I'll be uploading, and they're just a really interesting thing. These are all just different interesting fish. I'll do separate videos on each one, describing a lot more in detail. But this was just to give a broad overview of everything and just show you what I have for my first video. And I'll go through each one and make different videos on them. Thanks for watching.